The year is 1042. Macbeth mac Findleach, Mormaer of Moray, a land of rugged beauty and fierce independence, stood as its shield. He was a man forged in the crucible of the Highlands, his loyalty to Scotland unwavering. King Duncan I, a man more comfortable in the pursuits of peace than the harsh realities of war, faced a kingdom beset by troubles. Norse longboats haunted the coasts, and whispers of rebellion stirred in the hearts of disgruntled chieftains. The stability of Alba hung by a thread. The Norsemen, driven by greed and a thirst for conquest, launched their raids with increasing ferocity. Coastal villages were put to the torch, their inhabitants slaughtered or enslaved. The cries for help reached the ears of both king and Mormaer. Macbeth, ever vigilant, mustered his forces. He was a warrior of renown, his tactical brilliance matched only by his courage in battle. He would meet the Norsemen on the field and deliver a blow they would not soon forget. The battle was fierce and unforgiving. The Norsemen, hardened by years of raiding, fought with savage abandon. But the Scots, defending their homeland, met them with equal ferocity. The ground ran red with the blood of both invader and defender. With a mighty roar, Macbeth cleaved through the ranks of the enemy, his sword a blur of deadly steel. He faced down the Norse king himself, and in a brutal clash, ended the invaders' reign of terror. The Norsemen, their leader fallen, broke and fled. Macbeth returned to Inverness a hero. The people hailed him as their savior, their protector against the darkness that threatened to engulf them. His victory resonated throughout Scotland, a beacon of hope in a troubled time. At Inverness waited Gruach and Jen Boyt, Macbeth's wife. A woman of noble lineage, descended from kings of old, she possessed a keen intellect and a burning ambition. She saw in Macbeth not just a husband, but a means to restore her family's rightful place. In the quiet of their chamber, Gruach subtly reminded Macbeth of his strength, his popularity, and the growing dissatisfaction with Duncan's rule. She planted seeds of ambition, whispering of a Scotland united and strong, a Scotland led by a true warrior king. Macbeth, a loyal servant of Scotland, now found himself caught between his duty to the king and the whispers of his own ambition, fueled by the machinations of his wife and the growing unrest in the land. The path ahead was uncertain, shrouded in shadow and fraught with peril. The battle against the Norsemen was won. Moray was safe for now, but victory offered little solace to Macbeth as he surveyed the carnage. The cost of freedom was always paid in blood. Banquo, ever the stoic warrior, rode silently beside Macbeth. He shared Macbeth's weariness but masked it with a soldier's discipline. The victory felt hollow, a temporary reprieve in a land constantly threatened by war and ambition. As they crossed the desolate heath, a strange sight met their eyes. 3 figures huddled around a cauldron, their forms indistinct in the gathering gloom. An unnatural air hung about the place, a sense of foreboding that prickled the skin. "Who are you?" Macbeth's voice cut through the stillness, his natural authority demanding an answer. He approached cautiously, aware of the unsettling atmosphere surrounding the clearing. Banquo remained a step behind, his senses alert. He trusted little in the world beyond the tangible, and these women radiated an aura of the unknown that made his hand instinctively tighten around his sword hilt. The figures spoke, their voices raspy and unnatural. "Hail Macbeth, Thane of Glamis! Hail Macbeth, Thane of Cawdor! Hail Macbeth, that shalt be king hereafter!" The words struck Macbeth like a physical blow, filling him with a strange mixture of disbelief and nascent ambition. "Thou shalt get kings, though thou be none," another figure croaked, her gaze fixed on Banquo. Banquo scoffed, dismissing their words as the ramblings of madwomen, but a flicker of unease crossed his face. "What fantastical nonsense is this?" Banquo scoffed, trying to inject a note of levity into the situation. "Kings from my line, I'll believe it when I see it." Before either could speak again, the figures dissolved into the mist, leaving only the lingering scent of wood smoke and a profound silence. Macbeth stood transfixed, the prophecies echoing in his mind. Thane of Cawdor, king, the seed of ambition had been planted, and it began to take root. As they rode away from the desolate heath, the weight of the prophecy settled upon Macbeth. Was it fate, or merely a cruel jest of the gods? He couldn't be sure, but one thing was clear: his life would never be the same. The whispers on the heath had changed everything. The field outside Forres became the stage for a clash that would determine the fate of Scotland. Macbeth knew this was not merely a challenge to Duncan's rule, but a fight for the very soul of the kingdom. Duncan, ever confident in his divinely ordained right to rule, rallied his loyalists. He believed that might was on his side, and that the upstart Macbeth would be swiftly crushed. The battle began with a deafening roar. Macbeth, ever the warrior, plunged into the thick of the fight. He moved with purpose, leading his troops with unmatched skill. Banquo fought alongside Macbeth, his loyalty unwavering. He was concerned by the chaos of the battle and the heavy losses on both sides, a war that tore apart the very fabric of their land. The tide turned when Duncan fell, struck down in the thick of the fighting. His death sent a shockwave through his army, their morale crumbling as their king lay lifeless on the blood-soaked ground. With Duncan dead, Macbeth emerged victorious from the carnage. He did not seek the throne through treachery, but seized it on the field of battle, according to the ancient laws of war. Gruach stood proudly by her husband's side as he was crowned King of Scotland. She knew this was not just Macbeth's victory, but also a step towards reclaiming what she believed was rightfully hers. Many of the Scottish nobles, weary of Duncan's weak rule and the constant threat of Norse incursions, initially welcomed Macbeth. They believed he possessed the strength and wisdom to bring stability to their fractured land. Macbeth ascended the throne, not as a usurper, but as a leader who had seized power in a time of crisis. He began the difficult task of consolidating his rule, striving to unite the disparate factions within the kingdom. Yet the whispers of prophecy still echoed in their minds, subtly influencing their decisions. Gruach, ever the strategist, continued to guide Macbeth, ensuring their hold on the throne remained secure.